Good day, STEM students. Today we are to solve the equation of a parabola, in standard form, given 3 points where it passes through. If you want to learn basic concepts of parabola, you can check the previous lecture and exercises first. Now, without further ado, let's solve. Since the given is a vertical parabola, then we know that its standard form of equation is in this form. However, we can solve this problem using the general form of the parabola. The general form of the parabola, depending on its orientation, can be expressed in the following forms. But since our parabola is vertical, we will be using this form, x squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0. The idea is to form 3 equations in 3 variables from the points where the parabola passes through. Then solve for the variables d, e, and f, using systems of equations. After finding the general form of equation of the vertical parabola, we can then just rewrite the general form to standard form. So let's try to find the first equation using the point 8, 2. Substituting our general form of equation of a vertical parabola, with x equals 8, and y equals 2, we will have 8 squared, plus d times 8, plus e times 2, plus f, equals 0. Simplifying this, we will have 64, plus 8d, plus 2e, plus f, equals 0. Then we will need to transpose 64 to the left side of equation, so that our first equation would be 8d, plus 2e, plus f, equals negative 64. Now, let's proceed to the next point where the parabola passes through the point, negative 2, 7. Substitute x and y, with negative 2, 7 respectively, we have negative 2 squared, plus d times negative 2, plus e times 7, plus f, equals 0. Then, we will have 4, minus 2d, plus 7e, plus f, equals 0. Last, transpose negative 4, so that we will have our equation 2 as negative 2d, plus 7e, plus f, equals negative 4. Last, we have to find our third equation, so that we can proceed with the systems of linear equations. So, for the point 12, 14, we can substitute the coordinates to the equation, with x equals 12, and y equals 14. We will have 12 squared, plus d times 12, plus e times 14, plus f, equals 0. Then, this becomes 144, plus 12d, plus 14e, plus f, equals 0. Transposing 144 to the left side of the equation, we will have our third equation, 12d, plus 14e, plus f, equals negative 144. Now that we are done finding the 3 equations, we can now use systems of linear equations. Choose the first pair of equations from equations 1, 2 or 3. But for this example, we will use equations 1 and 2. We will use elimination method, in order to eliminate one of the 3 variables. In this case, we can eliminate f. If we subtract the 2 equations, we will have f minus f equals 0, hence, variable f is eliminated. Then, 8d, minus negative 2d, equals 10d. 2e, minus 7e, equals, negative 5e and, negative 64 minus negative 4, is negative 60. This is now our equation number 4. It has 2 variables, d and e. Next, we have to get a new pair of equations and do another elimination. This time, we'll choose equation 1 and 3. Since we eliminated f from the first pair, we will also eliminate f here. So using subtraction, we can easily eliminate f. Then, 8d minus 12d equals negative 4d. 2e minus 14e equals negative 12e, and negative 64 minus negative 144 equals 80. And this will be our equation number 5. Notice that our equations 4 and 5 have two variables, d and e. Therefore we will use systems of linear equation once again, on equations 4 and 5, to finally solve one of the variables. Let's try to eliminate variable d first. Before that, we have to make the coefficients of variable d the same, to eliminate them. The coefficient of d in equation 4 is 10, while the coefficient of d in equation 5 is negative 4. We can multiply 2 to equation number 4, so that 10d will become 20d, while we can multiply 5 to equation number 5, so that negative 4d becomes negative 20d. Then we eliminate variable d. So, 10d times 2 is 20d, negative 5e times 2 is negative 10e, and negative 60 times 2 is negative 120. And for equation number 5, negative 4d times 5 is negative 20d, while negative 12e times 5 is negative 60e, and 80 times 5 is 400. Now, we can eliminate variable d in this system of linear equations by adding the two equations. 20d and negative 20d will be eliminated. Negative 10e plus negative 60e is negative 70e, and negative 120 plus 400 is 280. Solving for e, we divide both sides by negative 70. So that e is equal to 280 over negative 70, or negative 4. Now, we are able to get the value of our first variable. We can use this to eventually solve for the values of the other variables. So let's use this to solve for d. Using one of the equations 4 and 5, we can substitute the value of e to solve for d. In this case, let us use equation 4. So with e equals negative 4, we will have 10d minus 5 times negative 4 equals negative 60. Negative 5 times negative 4 is 20, so we have 10d plus 20 equals negative 60. Then, we can transpose 20 to the right side of equation, so that we have 10d equals negative 60 minus 20. Solving for that, we have 10d equals negative 80. To solve for d, we divide both sides by 10, so that d equals negative 80 over 10, or d equals negative 8. To solve for the last variable f, we will use the value of d and e, and substitute them on any of the equations 1, 2, or 3. In this case, we will just use equation 1, 8d plus 2e plus f equals negative 64, substituting d with negative 8, and e with negative 4, we will have 8 times negative 8 plus 2 times negative 4 plus f equals negative 64. Simplifying this, we have negative 64 minus 8 plus f equals negative 64. Negative 64 minus 8 is negative 72, plus f equals negative 64. We transpose negative 72 to the right side of the equation, so that we have f equals negative 64 plus 72. Then, solving for negative 64 plus 72, we will get the value of f as f equals 8. Now that we have the values for d, e, and f, we can now substitute them on our general form of equation, for the vertical parabola. We will have x squared minus 8x minus 4y plus 8 equals 0. This is now the general form of equation of this given parabola. We can now write this equation in standard form, by completing the square. Since x is squared, we can start by transposing all other terms that do not contain variable x, to the right side. Then use completing the square on the left side. Divide the coefficient of x by 2, which is 4, then square it, to get 16. We will now add 16 to both sides for the equation. Our left side of the equation becomes a perfect square trinomial. We can rewrite it into a square of binomial, so that we have x minus 3 squared. Simplify the right side of the equation so that we have 4y plus 8. Then factor out the coefficient of y, which is 4, and when we say factor out, it means we put it outside the parenthesis, and divide the terms 4y and 8 by 4, so that we have 4 times y plus 2 on the right side of the equation. This is now our standard form of equation of a parabola, x minus 3 squared equals 4 times y plus 2. Thank you again for watching. Hope you learned something from this video. If you do, kindly give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get more lessons in mathematics for senior high.